Partnered by Times Influence.
India's 36 million small and medium enterprises are becoming an increasingly critical component of our nation's economy. SMEs play a crucial role in the balanced economic growth of the country, with a contribution estimated at nearly 10% of India's GDP. SMEs, which span all sectors of the economy, also employ upwards of 40% of India's workforce.
ICICI's DNA has been to create large corporations from small ones. If you trace the history of ICICI Bank, we've been involved in creating and participating in the growth stories of many, many large companies today, which are listed. Many of them are global corporations. To my mind, it's important to understand the SME very well. And I think we at ICICI Bank understand the SME, his needs, his requirements, the nuances of the segment extremely well. I think first and most important thing that is required to be able to service the SME is simply have an ability to reach out to them. The physical infrastructure, I think there we are very well endowed through our network of branches, through the network of our relationship managers. And it's not just physical infrastructure to us. We are very well digitally endowed as well. So it's supplementing the infrastructure on the ground with the digital network and the digital capabilities that the bank is continuously investing in and modernizing and upgrading. So it's physical infrastructure, digital capabilities and infrastructure that ICICI is investing and continuing to invest in going forward. So through this digital infrastructure, we are able to offer clients the advantages of an efficient offering. It's very difficult for an SME otherwise to get access to such individuals and people, but we provide platforms virtually into their doorstep. Then it is a question of offering the variety of products and solutions that an SME requires. Basic products, nuanced products, several sort of variations to the products which actually meet specific niche requirements of a customer. We understand that an SME looks for not just money, but he looks for guidance, knowledge, mentoring, and so on and so forth. So we provide, to the best that we can, abilities in this area.
ICICI Bank has long recognized the contribution of SMEs to India's growth story. ICICI Bank partners with the SMEs to transform their dreams into reality by playing a critical role in their progress with a bouquet of SME-specific portfolio of products and services such as working capital loans, payment solutions, trade services, dealer and vendor finance, remittance and forex solutions, cash management services, investment banking, M&A advisory services, and much more. Realizing that each customer's needs are specific, ICICI Bank has segmented itself into various business clusters and has developed an expertise in each of these clusters to provide structured as well as customized products that cater to the specific need of its customers. The ICICI Bank SME Elite 50 platform is aimed at endorsing the achievements of SMEs and fueling their growth in an effort to help them ultimately transform into larger corporations. In the inaugural season of SME Elite 50, ICICI Bank partnered with CRISIL Ratings and travelled to Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities across India via 10 rigorous city jury rounds in an attempt to uncover the country's most promising SMEs across industry before ultimately arriving at the final 50.
For us, it's a comprehensive offering that enables us to help the SMEs grow. For India, SME is an important segment. They contribute quite materially to the entire employment, export, manufacturing base, and so on and so forth. They're increasingly becoming an important part of the GDP, and they're growing fast. So through an effort like what we are doing along with ET Now, our endeavor is really to reach out to them and provide that platform of recognition and provide them the platform which will give them access to this growth window.
Vying for the coveted title of the SME Elite 50, companies were put to the test. Each SME was asked to present in front of a jury of experts, which included a member of ICICI Bank's management, representation from knowledge partner and ratings agency CRISIL, and an independent business luminary from industry. After evaluating hundreds of high-quality SMEs in Chennai, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Jaipur and Ludhiana, the SME Elite 50 platform made its way to bustling Bengaluru. Bengaluru's economy is booming in large part due to its enormous edge in the information technology, aerospace, manufacturing and biotech sectors.
The Bangalore round of the SME Elite 50 was interesting in the context that we were able to see tradition again, sort of, we have now moved to a more cosmopolitan IT driven sector is the way we look at Bangalore. But if you look at the participation today, we had, people from the gems and jewels business, automobile, which is a strong focus area for Bangalore traditionally. We could see quite a lot of companies from that space and quite a lot of those who are looking at, running the business successfully. And these are companies who have been able to come up in 8-10 years to a level which is fairly impressive.
Bangalore round of SME Elite 50, we've witnessed an interesting mix of companies both from the traditional sectors like jewelry. We've had IT support services, and shows the the diversity in the businesses which operate, the SMEs which operate from Bangalore.
So I think very interesting in terms of the spread we had. Coming typically from a IT company, I think we used to seeing a lot of let's say customers who are dealing with the challenges around their IT infrastructure or landscapes and things like that. So this was an interesting conversation we had today with most of them. Very different to what we see on a regular basis, and also good to know that there are a lot of these companies which are doing good business more in terms of the traditional landscape that we have around Bangalore. A lot of these trading companies which we are talking about have been focused phenomenally more on the top line, not really on cash at hand or profits as such. A lot of them have been debt driven. More in terms of borrowings and heavy borrowings and things like that. I think that focus has to slightly change.
People in today's context will have to shift the paradigm from being a top line driven company to a cash flow driven company, because ultimately if you need to survive in the economy today, you need to be able to manage your cash flows better, and that is very, very critical. While quite a few promoters did have a clear sense in terms of the cash flows, we also found that a few of them were lacking in terms of the understanding.
We used to split ferrous and non-ferrous metal, and then we gradually started doing trading of the ferrous and non-ferrous metal, like basically stainless steel. We get material for slitting all the way from Delhi, from Faridabad, from Pune, from Kerala. We have customers who send their material to Bangalore. They prefer us because of the quality and the accuracy that we give. Our Honorable Prime Minister is taking Make in India as a pet project, and been doing a lot of giving importance to SMEs in India, giving them a lot of supports by the government as of now.
SMEs need focus, SMEs need motivation, and platforms like SME Elite 50 from ICICI give us this avenue, this platform where we can show to the world what we are doing as a company, and it gives us the little focus that we need and cherish.
Yeah, SMEs is backbone of this country's economic growth actually. They are the one provide the maximum job opportunities and steady business. Vidya Hubs is manufacture and 100% export oriented manufacturing herbal extracts, botanical extracts of Indian origin, and our main focus is quality as a main focus and quality of our products, and R&D is our strength.
Saab Engineering was started we are now about 28 years old, and we are growing, and we are very aggressively moving forward, trying to incorporate new technologies, investing in better machines, better quality of equipment. The Elite 50 from ICICI Bank, I think would give us a takeoff platform to help us achieve what we are looking at. We are here for the long haul, so we would expect people, we would want people who want to partner with us to be on the same wavelength as us, and this platform would give us a lot of exposure.
We have been in business for almost 35 years now. The main customers are TVS, Honda and Bajaj, and here all two-wheeler customers are our customers. SMEs require money all the time, and we get timely funds. That's good. That's the progress today.
We are into the manufacturing of ERW tubes and sections. I must congratulate ICICI Bank for giving us an opportunity to express ourselves, to help us, to join hands together so that we can or we may proceed ahead in our business activities. So I think I did my best. Rest is up to them.
After a highly competitive jury round in Bengaluru, the ICICI Bank SME Elite 50 platform made its way to the gateway of East India, Kolkata. Kolkata's economy is rooted in the strength of its manufacturing, finance, print and publishing and recreation industries.
So in Calcutta today, we are very impressed with the first generation entrepreneurs who have come today. They are from various fields, and the company they survived from almost 2 to 3 decades. So this was very, very impressive. Sheer number of first generation entrepreneurs who has grown because of their ability of sheer willpower and passion. But they need real challenge of scalability. The next level of scalability, they need strategic partnership who can provide them capital, who can help them in technology. They also need mentoring from HR perspective, management perspective to attract and retain talent. So one thing which we would like to mention from SME Elite 50 platform here at ICICI, we want these SMEs to be recognized. Platforms helps them in marketplace from their suppliers point of view, from their buyers point of view, their financial point of view, from their HR perspective. That helps them to move to the next level of category.
Kolkata, you could clearly find that you could clearly differentiate SMEs based on the promoters' passion for their businesses, irrespective of their age, which was very clearly visible in the city. I think Kolkata is a traditional been a hub for Indian entrepreneurs, and I think that clearly comes out, and I think that's a key thing. Which is a differentiator between the companies who have gone to the next round and those who have not gone.
I think it was a very rich spectrum of companies that came, particularly, also if we look at the promoters from 27 to 72. There are some companies that clearly stood out as companies of tomorrow, of companies that have the ability and the potential of becoming leaders of tomorrow. There are some companies that need to maybe reinvent themselves, they need to relook at what they are doing or the process that they are following in their business. Some companies stood out in terms of their sheer entrepreneurial passion, the past achievement and the future vision. And some of the companies that we were able to select to take to the next round were people who have demonstrated in the last 4 or 5 years that they have the mettle in them to go forward. What came out very clearly amongst the SMEs that presented today is that while in the beginning that the gaps that they were facing were lack of adequacy of capital. People had manpower challenges, some people had succession challenges, but it was clear that, where there was the will, there was the way.
From 1964, when I came to Calcutta, today, in 2018, from zero capital, we have grown into a respectable company, and more than the money, the respect that we have with our client is our major asset. We don't work with technology as much. We work with people, and competent people is the core strength. To my mind, the foremost requirement, and I might add, that instead of fragmented growth, if there is cluster growth, where there are many SMEs working in the same domain and they share the expertise, the resources, the inputs, the infrastructure with others, I think that can trigger real growth.
I'm in a very specialized vertical. It's absolutely very high technology area. So our persistence, our belief, our studies, our technical ability, development of our team, training, this was very essential.
We started from 50,000 rupees to today we own a company of 100 crore. The jury, they had perfect questions with them. They wanted to know how I worked with different companies, how my business grew with such a small place, and I had answers to all these things.
The jury was very insightful. They were looking after all the angles of the business, like what is our growth story and how we see us 10 years down the line. So they were very insightful and very thoughtful.
I think what we have faced when we were into difficult times, I think easy access to capital is something that at a cost that they can afford. The jury, whatever the questions that they asked, were all pertinent to the business that we are doing currently.
This kind of programs put SMEs on center stage. The one thing that SMEs really require is to be presented to the rest of the country, because they do not have such a wide presence. So sometimes good companies also go unnoticed. So I think this is one of the platforms which can put SMEs on center stage, even to the extent of influencing government policies towards SMEs. I think jury was positive to a growth story. I look positively to the results outcome.
After a riveting jury round in Kolkata, ICICI Bank Business Banking presents SME Elite 50 made its way west to Pune. Pune's rapidly evolving economy lies on the laurels of its key strengths, its education, manufacturing and information technology sectors.
I broadly looked at was definitely going by the numbers, because the numbers need to correlate first when we are talking about these kind of organizations, because typically there's a lot of volatility in SMEs because of the dependence on a single client or something like that. So the dependence on a particular client would be something that would concern me if there is too much of concentration.
Sustainability and safety of the business from the point of view of uniqueness, whether it is a unique business, is it a unique technology, or is it a monopolistic business, and if the monopoly goes away, right, what are they going to do? Judging on these parameters, I could find out what is the best possible, best out of these 15 people.
Gold being very precious metal and costly, so generally the skill lies in lesser weight, what best design you can give. Earlier there was always in papers it used to come level playing field. Now there is no level playing field, and for small and medium scale enterprises it's very difficult. So you have to fight your own battle basically by improving your designs in my particular industry.
I think getting the finance for a business is really difficult. I think the collateral requirements, the RBI norms are really stringent and which are getting more tougher and tougher. The second major hurdle that we are recently facing is the GST. So even if there is a huge business opportunity, there are some teething problems that I think if they are addressed, I think the overall industry can do much better. I think it was good that I had a jury from the manufacturing side that I am catering to, like the automotive side. So I suppose they were able to understand what I was saying in a better way, because they come from the same industry, they are having the same background or the same pains and business scenario that I am facing.
Started with the company overview and then how the company is growing, the finance, what we are thinking ourselves in upcoming 5 years. It was also some learning points for us. They gave us some ideas how to become more positive and where are the loops where we can develop ourselves.
I think the journey so far has been very interesting. If you ask me, the achievement on every step has been wonderful. So reach every mark and that becomes your just milestone. And the juries are at the top level, the renowned in the industry. So we appreciate the effort.
Definitely SMEs needs a good amount of support from the financial institutes in terms of giving the funds or the capital That is what is we see, and a good government policy so that SME products will be promoted into the government industry, so that SME gets good business out of it. Jury was quite excited when they asked the questions and the type of responses they got. The reason being the company which we represent is quite unique in that sector.
Major challenges in the initial stage was arranging finance and also getting good people to work for us. Questioning was very appropriate. They were trying to evaluate and trying to find out if we understand our business, if we know what are the risks involved, how are we taking correction of that, and also what vision do we have for the future. Platforms like this should, once the companies are for the elite companies, should help them to get convenient and faster access to funds whenever they need for expansion, and also help them attract good technology partners from abroad.
See, the major problem I think we face is with the manpower. I think getting the right talent, retaining the right talent is always a big problem for us. So I think that is a major challenge I feel for an SME. I mean, some of the questions were quite interesting. I think they were in line of what I had expected, because obviously I have been doing my business for past 10 years, but for them to evaluate that in less than 20 minutes is obviously not an easy task. So I thought the questions were right, and I think I tried my best to explain them in the best possible manner. And if not selected, you at least know where you stand, and it's always good.
For us, SME is an important segment. For India, SME is an important segment, and they're growing fast. And I have over the years picked up 4 themes which principally sort of dominate in SME's mind as far as challenges are concerned. The first revolves around people. How can I get talent? How can I retain talent? The second actually revolves around what I broadly club under different kinds of business problems. What is the choice of technology? What is the choice of strategy? How do I remain competitive? It's an ever-changing world. How do I get market access? How do I get newer customers onto my fold? How do I ensure that I have the right processes? There's an ever-changing compliance structure that I have to live on, the taxation, the changes in GST and so on and so forth. How do I keep myself abreast with these changes? So broadly, these are the second bucket of challenges, which I call the business-related challenge. The third is somewhere in the domain of infrastructure and policy. There is a lot of effort that is being done by the current government to modernize infrastructure, to modernize the policy framework as well, and simplify things for SME. To give you an example, 2 of the cutting-edge locations where I find infrastructure and policy very modern, I think one is China and the other is Germany. And you see SMEs thriving and doing extremely well there. I think India is getting there. We still have a way to go, but still there's a journey to cover. So better and more modern and more efficient the infrastructure and policy network, the more facilitative the environment for the SME. So the third revolves around that. And finally, it is access to capital. That's been one of the big challenges that the SMEs have been facing over the years. Probably we are at a cusp of a time when, going forward, challenges for SME with reference to access to capital could just be, in times to come, a thing of past. It would be our greatest desire, greatest happiness, greatest item of pride and privilege to get associated with an SME, which eventually becomes bigger, then gets listed, and then eventually becomes a global corporation. And I think that's what really differentiates ICICI in the marketplace. We have done that before, and we believe we can do that in the emerging complex world of tomorrow.
Next week, ICICI Bank Business Banking presents SME Elite 50 travels to the country's capital, New Delhi, and maximum city, Mumbai, in its continued quest to discover the country's most promising SMEs. And in the 4th and final episode in the series, the SME Elite 50 will finally be revealed. Stay tuned. As per the new tri-tariff order, you now have the power to choose and pay only for the channels you love. To keep watching your favorite shows on ET Now, call your cable or DTH operator and get the Times, movies and news pack now.
The showstoppers, the jaw droppers, The movers and shakers.
These are some of the hard facts.
The power players. All the blockbusters. All the hard hitters. In one power punch.
That's awesome.
Complete your TV viewing experience with the best of Hollywood entertainment and news. Get the Times Movies and News pack at just 13 rupees. Ask your cable or DTH provider now.
Partnered by Times Influence.